Hey, what's up, dudes and dudettes? Brad the Guitarist here. I have a new video off screen over here on this laptop that's rendering right now. So I thought while that's rendering, I might as well open some viewer mail. It's been a little while since I opened some viewer mail, and I've had some things sitting around here for quite a while that have needed to be opened and needed to be showed to you guys. I had a Native Sons strap that was sent to me by Native Sons Goods. They were a longtime sponsor of mine, and they sent me this and a couple of other straps back around the time when we did the giveaway, or the auction, excuse me, for the Squishy Guitar project. And they donated a strap to the auction, and they also sent me a couple of other ones to kind of choose from. So one of them I gave away as a gift. This one has been sitting around, and I've been meaning to show it off. This is a really nice strap. This is one of the 3-inch ones, 3 inches wide, that is. This is the Horizon in navy with the natural hemp backing and the espresso colored leather. Always fun, always a joy to open a Native Sons Goods strap. They're really well packaged. They've got all the little cards, the thank you cards and stuff. Brandy, who runs the company with her husband, Chris, it's a family-run company made in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Definitely check these guys out. They are amazing straps. But just beautiful. What did I say that was? The cognac or espresso leather. Gorgeous. This is actual Mayan serape, which is made in Central America. Definitely, if you're gonna buy one of these, I highly recommend the hemp backing. The nylon backing is good, but it sometimes can be a little bit slippery. But this hemp backing has such a texture to it that even if you have a neck heavy guitar, this will not slip. Particularly with the 3-inch straps, there's enough of a friction here on your shoulder. You could be wearing a silk suit, and there's enough friction here with a neck heavy guitar, it still probably won't even slip on you. So really, really nice straps. These are made to last. They are riveted and stitched. Fantastic straps. I can't thank you enough, Brandy, for sending this. This is a beautiful strap. Okay, this next package is from a friend of mine in England. You can see the stamps here. So this came all the way from the UK. Let's see what he sent. I hope this wee book can be added to your reference library. All the best to you and yours from mine. Stay free, Rab. So thank you very much, Rab. So this is a electronic music projects book. So there are a bunch of schematics in here. This is a white noise generator, pink noise generator. Interesting. So lots of little schematics and sound projects that you can make and read about and learn to understand. There's an envelope shaper, filter, whatever you want to call it. This is freaking cool, man. It gives you parts lists if you want to build the thing. An audio modulator. Okay, that's pretty awesome, man. General effects. Here's a tremolo. Sweet. So that's a tremolo right there. That's a good book, man. Thank you so much for that, Rab. I appreciate that. Okay, this one is also from the United Kingdom. And this is cash money. Dollar bill, yo. This has actually been sitting around a little while. This is from Marlon. He sent this whenever I asked for help with my legal matters. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Okay, this package is from the Flatwoods Monster Museum in West Virginia. You may have seen the stickers on my desk, Flatwoods Monster Museum, here and there. If you've watched the channel for any length of time, you may also remember Andrew sending me some stuff in the past. Lots of other things, t-shirts and whatnot. It looks like he may have sent me another t-shirt. And this little guy, sweet. What is this? Is this epoxy? Is that epoxy? Looks like it might be epoxy. That is Braxy, the Flatwoods Monster. You can see him over here as well. But legend goes in the, so I think it's like 1950s, early 50s, 53, something like that. This alien spaceship crash landed near where he has this museum. Several people witnessed this and gave their account of what happened and what they saw, and what they all described was something that looked very much like this right here. So it really adds to the West Virginia spooky horror story, alien invasion kind of lore that they've got going on over there, what with the Mothman and all that kind of stuff too. He says, hello Brad, we did a small batch run of these t-shirts and stickers that are Flatwoods Monster / Nirvana mashup. Thanks for mentioning the name of your old band some time ago so I could search it out. I finally found your cover album of Nevermind. If your audience is interested, we have a Flatwoods Monster video on our YouTube channel, Braxton, West Virginia. So this is their YouTube channel. I'll put a link down in the description or in a pinned comment where you can go click on that and check them out for sure. Look at that, dude. Sweet. He knows I love stickers, man. That's cool. Thank you, dude. All right, man. Kick ass. Thank you, man. I appreciate that very much, Andrew. Okay, this is a very large box. I'm probably not going to be able to fit it up here right now. I'll set the stuff out of the box up here so we can see it. Okay, this one is from Tim Groves. And this one, I think, has been here longer than any of them. Holy crap. It looks like he's got tubes galore here. Okay, hang on. Hang on, there's way more. Are these all tubes? It looks like we've got an ass load of tubes. Yeah, these aren't your standard guitar amp tubes necessarily. There are some really interesting tubes here. So here's the first pair I'll show you that he sent. These are tubes that go into a transmitter. I'll put some information up on the screen about these tubes. This is a 4E27 type. This is made by Lewis and Kaufman, and he's given me a pair here. The cool thing about this, that I've got a pair of these, that if I actually wanted to, let's see, what does this say? Guarantee for 1,000 hours. That would be in the designated application, I'm sure. They're not, you know. But I did dig up a schematic for an audio amplifier that uses these. I think it was just using one of these, though, if I'm not mistaken. But you could use these in a push-pull pair in an audio output. Could you imagine that? And the yeah, the amplification factor is like really high on these. I think these can get up to like 150 watts or something like that per tube, if I'm not mistaken, 100 or 150. It's something really, really silly. And these are gigantic tubes. I mean, you can see, well, I say gigantic, they're as big as my hand. You know, that's a big tube. I've actually got a couple more of these I want to show you. So you sent me that pair. I have a second pair of these as well. These are iMac made 4E27A / 5-125B. One of these has kind of a milky bottom, whereas the other one does not. I don't know what that means necessarily, if anything. Maybe nothing. It could also mean that this one's been used and maybe spent. I don't know. It's got some dark areas down here on the bottom, whereas this one does not. That one looks all shiny right down there on the bottom. You see that lettering down there, Z8-5547. Maybe that's some kind of a serial number, perhaps. And then this one has a serial number on it as well, or a number. I don't know if it's a serial number. This one says C5-5126, I think. But you can see down there it looks a little bit more burned. So I don't know if that's just from manufacturing or if this one's been used. It doesn't look used though in any other respect, except maybe up here. You can see how it's kind of turned purple. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Let me get some more light over here. Let's see if maybe you can see that. You see how it's a bit purple here on this this terminal that's coming up. right in there. It's kind of bluish purple. This doesn't have that bluish purple to it. So I don't know. This might have been used at some point, and maybe this one was not. That's my guess. But anyway, there's a second pair of those, which is just really cool and interesting. I do also have a third one of those. So this probably would be the pair, because these two look... Well, no, that's not true either. This one looks like it has a little bit of the black down here, but no blue up here. And it has a C5 serial number, C56834, and it has the cloudy bottom like this one. And the pins are a little bit different too. Look at the pins on that. So I would have to locate not just a schematic. Like I said, I found a schematic from a guy, I think in Japan, who had designed an audio amplifier using these. So, you know, I have something I could build. If I wanted to build something, I would have to match the output transformer primary impedance with one of these. He does recommend a certain transformer, so it's possible, you know, I even have some direction on which kind of transformer to get to turn one of these into an audio output. But just very cool that I've got 5 of those. He also sent me this, which this is closely related to, but it's a kind of similar. It's used in similar applications. This one is made by Penta Laboratories Incorporated and is a PL 4D21 4-125A. I guess maybe that's a European designation, because there's a 5- number 125B, and then there's a 4- number. Maybe those are the European designation. That first bit is the American designation, 4E27. But this one is a 4D21. As you can see, they're similar. This one right here is a little bit more squat in appearance. It has a smaller plate in there than this one does, and it doesn't have the wings on the plate like that one does. You can see the wings coming off of the plate in there. This one doesn't have those wings. And this one is a 5-pin, whereas this one is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 7-pin. So different pin outs as well. But just another interesting transmitter tube. And again, if I wanted to, I suppose, build an audio amplifier out of that thing, it would amplify. It is a, I think it's a pentode when I looked them up. But like I said, I'll put a data sheet up on the screen so you can see exactly what it is. But just really interesting to me. It's not the sort of thing that you see every day when you're doing just audio stuff or guitar stuff. Okay, this came in this tube box, and it is a 6CD6G. 6CD6. And it's made by, or it's labeled at least, Teltron. 55-8, so that's probably from 1955 would be my guess. This one is unlabeled, but it looks to me like it might be some kind of power pentode. 213, that's probably 1952 would be my guess. Then I've got this beauty. This is an 807. That would be cool in the output of some kind of amplifier. Possibly made by Tungsol. Tungsol used that brown Bakelite a lot in their productions. This one is in a Sylvania box, so maybe new. Again, we've got a brown bass. This one is labeled RCA. 143, so the 43rd week of whatever, maybe 1941 or 1951. And it's some kind, yeah, it's a 5R4 rectifier. and it's a JAN, so it's a Joint Army-Navy tube. This is a RADTEL. This is an interesting one. RAD, radio and telephone, or radio and telegraph tube company. What does that say? 2/55. So maybe their designations are a little bit off, but and it's also got a 53-9 right there as well. So I don't know which is the date code. Who knows? But this one, the cap is coming off. That could be resoldered and readhered. You can see the adhesive there inside the cap. But what I'd have to do is drill just a microscopic tiny hole right there and run that lead up through the hole and solder it. And at the same time, put some adhesive on there so that helps keep it on there too. So I could fix that tube right there. It's a 6BG6. And then I've got a couple of these massive boxes. I don't know what's... Well, I say massive. These aren't even the biggest ones. But look at this. As big as these tubes back here are, this thing is about... Look, this box is about almost another 50% taller than that. And I have no idea what's in this. But we're going to find out here. I think they're the same, whatever they are. Both of them are marked Raytheon and are obviously new old stock. So, see what we got here. Oh, look at, wow, look at that beauty. Whoa. That's an 811. That's an 811 4-pin tube. That's got to be a power tube. That's beautiful, dude. Look at that. That's got to be a pair of those. So a pair of new old stock 811s. Then I've got some curious tubes here too. I'm going to show you some of the smaller ones first before I get to the real big ones. And no, those are not the real big ones yet, believe it or not. So they sent me here just a collection of little ones. I've got the 1698 right here, -CT tongue sole. That looks like it might be some little power tube. Maybe something on the order of a 6V6 or something. I'd have to look it up. A 1698, but that's definitely a industrial tube designation. Then I've got a little octal tube here with a round plate on the inside. What is that? A 6C5. So that's possibly some. Yeah, it's 6C5. I've got a 2E26 right there. Just several little oddball tubes here. I'm not sure what... Oh, that's a 12SK7. Here's a little Loctal tube, a 7Y4 Loctal. Might go in some radio or other. Loctal tubes were designed to not fall out of circuits, but they often don't get great connection. That's the problem with those. And then they gave me this thing. I don't know what this is, but check this dude out. So it has a very tube-like base on it. But it has, I don't know. Is this a sensor of some kind, possibly? Sticking down? And then it's got this oddball structure on the side of the tube that looks like maybe two plates. But you screw this, and these come closer together or further apart when you screw this. So I don't know if this is added capacitance, perhaps. Maybe this might be an adjustable capacitor on the outside that's connected in series possibly with whatever terminal this is on the top. to another lead, or maybe even perhaps this, and it's somehow when you adjust this is a sensor for something. But how interesting is that? So I'll put up whatever I find out about this. I'll put it up too. It's a 2K25. Okay, so the question of what the hell is this tube led me down quite the reading rabbit hole here, and I'll show you what I mean. So it turns out this is a Clystron, or a Reflex Clystron. Also called the Shepherd tube design, was the heart of the X-band. That's the 8.6 to 9.5 gigahertz radars during World War II, and was used in Marine radar sets well into the 70s, used for the local oscillator tube. This unit also saw service in many microwave trainer units used for educational service. All right, so a Reflex Clystron. There are some different websites that go into this, but essentially it's I don't pretend to understand all of this, but it is used to generate an oscillation in the microwave band, essentially. And it uses a special, you have to have the ability to adjust the velocity of the electrons. And that's what that little adjustment is for. You can adjust the velocity inside the tube of the electrons ever so slightly to set up the exact oscillation that you want. Very interesting tube that I never knew existed before, but I'm no radar person, so used to produce oscillations at microwave frequency. Its principle of operation is velocity and current modulation. Clystrons are basically specialized tubes used as amplifiers and oscillators at the microwave frequency range. Okay, so they make a two-cavity Clystron and a single cavity Clystron, which is the one I think that we have here. It's called a Reflex Clystron. And that they had to do that to sustain oscillations at a microwave frequency. That little thing coming out the bottom, that's where the RF, I believe that's where that comes out, and that's like a coaxial loop. So this repeller electrode right here slows down electrons, and I'm not sure where the adjustment is supposed to be represented on this, but ours has an adjustment. The tube that we have has an adjustment, and that site goes into all the mathematics behind it, and again, I'm not going to get into all that. But yeah, this is this part that's sticking out the bottom. That's essentially what you have here, and there's this cavity. Okay, so grid gap. I believe that is what you adjust right here. This grid gap. That's the gap right in here. And what that does is it slows down or speeds up the electron beam that are being shot out of the anode. So this is like okay, so your cathode is here and your anode is actually right beside the cathode, which is interesting. And then you've got this repeller. So electrons have to shoot from one side of this thing. So let me see if you can get, yeah, now you can see it a little better. Sorry about that. Okay, so electrons will originate over here on this end of the thing, and they'll shoot over toward this repeller and get reflected back, and the speed variation is adjusted with this grid gap, and this oscillation of back and forth again can be adjusted, and the output somehow ends up at right coming out of this end of the unit. So really just an interesting thing. So what kind of frequencies are we talking about here? So we're talking about what I say around 10 gigahertz or so, right in that kind of range. So we're talking about double 5G. A microwave oven, you can see right here, operates at 2.4 gigahertz, which is around the same as your wireless 2.4 gig router and everything in your house. You know, radars in the 1 to 100 gigahertz range. You've got TV broadcast down here in the 54 to 700 megahertz range. FM radio is down a little lower than that. AM radio is much lower than that. You've got ultrasound, the sound waves on further down. And visible light is a much higher frequency. Now, you may not have realized that, but visible light is a much higher frequency than microwave radiation. It's on the other side of infrared. You have to get past infrared to get to the visible light. And then, of course, up higher is ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays. But really interesting. So if you were to measure the waves, about how long is the wavelength that we're talking about here, and this kind of gives you a reference of a baseball. So the wave would complete one cycle in the width of this baseball. But the thing is, you know, if that's traveling at the speed of light, you've got baseballs lined up at the speed of light going by. You know, that's still really high frequency, but not as high as visible light. So really interesting stuff. Hope you learned something today. Then I got this big dude. Okay, I told you I was saving the big dogs for last, so here we go. Check this guy out. Now here's our previous tubes. This thing dwarfs this tube. It's about twice the size. This is an 803. This is the most powerful amplification tube that RCA ever produced. This one was made by Kenrad. It's labeled U.S. Army on the base, VT-106. This was used in a transmitter. But wow, look at that beauty right there.
Dear God, it's beautiful.
Okay, so I thought this might be cool. Let's take a look at this I think this is 1943 RCA Guide for Transmitting Tubes booklet I found online. Check this thing out. $7 for a tube in 1943. That's a lot. That's a lot of money back then for a tube. Wow. So this is all going to be transmitting tubes. So this, you know, a booklet like this probably wouldn't have been in anybody's hands unless, or 1942, there it is, 1942. This wouldn't have been in anybody's hands unless they worked at a radio station or were an engineer or was in the military, you know, in 1942. Very cool. Welcome the opportunity to cooperate in helping RCA transmitting tube users extend tube life to the fullest. Okay, the 813, RCA's largest glass air-cooled beam transmitting tube. I've heard of people using the 813 in an audio amp design. The 813 apparently is closely related to the 803. We'll get down here to the 803. So there's an 802. Here's our 803. List price of $28.50. Holy camole. 1942. $28.50. I mean, the inflation in the past 2 years has gone way the hell. This would have been a $500 tube. RCA's biggest pentode. So this was the largest pentode made in its day. The RCA 803, with its maximum plate dissipation of 125 watts, is the largest of the RCA transmitting pentodes. It is particularly useful as an RF amplifier, frequency multiplier, oscillator, and suppressor, grid or plate modulated amplifier. Neutralization of the tube is necessary in adequate shielded circuits. But this is definitely something that could be used in like a single-ended. You can set it up as a push-pull if you wanted. I mean, it's a pentode. But you could set this up as a single-ended audio amp with a max plate voltage
of 2,000 volts. 2 kilovolts maximum plate voltage. Wow. And 125 watts of plate dissipation. It's just fun to kind of dream about what you could possibly make with something like this. But really cool. I like this booklet a lot. But that would have been, that looks to me like it's the most expensive tube in this book too. So
and then there's this dude. I have no idea what this is. There's a box here that's as big as this tube. So I think whatever's in here might be as big as this guy. So let's open it up. This will be the first time it's ever been opened. This is manufactured by Radio Corporation of America. That's RCA. Packaged in November of 1956. And this contains one RCA 4X150A tube. So let's look up a 4X150A while we open this. This electron tube must remain within this carton and wrapping. If shipped, this unit must be protected by being surrounded by not less than 2 inches of cushioning or its equivalent and packed in another container. Failure to observe these instructions will result in damage to the tube. It would be a miracle then if this thing was not damaged. Oh, there might be 2 in here. So, okay. So this is a smaller tube. This is maybe about the size of some of these others right here. And this doesn't look like original packaging. I want to get my coffee out of the way before I get it full of old newspaper. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is another transmitter tube. This is a 4-125A. A 4-125A. It looks very similar to these others that we've already opened back here. Okay, so actually it's similar to this one. It's a 4D21. Same as this guy, but this one is manufactured by iMac. Yeah, right there. RMA 4D. Can you see it? The tube is so big, it's trying to focus on the back of the tube, isn't it? 4D21 right there. Okay, now this looks like original cushioning. That's another 4D21. This one is made by Lewis and Kaufman, and it says Los Gatos, long life, with a little picture of a panther on it right there. I'd like to get a shot of that, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. You can't see it right there? A little picture of a panther, and it says Los Gatos, long life. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. A bunch of weird tubes and oddball stuff that people sent in. Thank you, as always, for sending the stuff in. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to send me something, you're welcome to do so. Just hit me up at the email in the description, and I'll shoot you an address where you can send me some oddball stuff, and we may open that in a future episode. I do have some other stuff that's arrived since I recorded this, so if you sent me stuff and you're wondering why didn't he open my thing, you know, that's why. Because I got it after I had filmed all this. So anyway, we'll get to that stuff in the future, and for now, we'll see you all later.